Good day, everyone. Today, I'm going to present our research work on formulation and evaluation of thermoreversible in situ gel of felodipine. Sol-gel transition is a well-known phenomena which has found several applications in drug delivery to provide a liquid formulation which sets to a near solid in the physiological environment at the site of application. In this context, the thermoreversible gels, which can be easily prepared as aqueous solutions of the block copolymer poloxamer 407, offer a convenient in situ gelling vehicle. The temperature at which this micellization induced rigidization occurs can be tailored uh, at or near body temperature by modulating the formulation. Our intention was to formulate and evaluate an injectable in situ gelling depot of a model drug candidate. We narrowed down on felodipine as drug for incorporation into the poloxamer-based in situ gelling system. The choice was driven by the poor oral bioavailability, low dose, and the fact that the drug intended for hypertension is administered chronically, often to geriatric patients where the compliance with the daily regimen may not be ensured with the oral system. Thus, the objective of the present investigation was to formulate and characterize the thermoreversible in situ gelling system as an injectable depot of felodipine and to study its release behavior. Here I have attached the diagram representing the process of in situ injectable depot formation followed by the drug release. When injected, the formulation sets into a gel and the entrapped drug is released via a combination of drug diffusion and gel erosion. We also intended to elucidate the mechanism of this release. The cold method was used to prepare the in situ gel. Simple dissolution of the poloxamers and benzalkonium chloride in the desired concentrations was adequate. Since the drug was insoluble in the aqueous gel, dimethyl sulfoxide was included as a co-solvent. The final product, when cold, was a clear solution, which was then formed into a thermoreversible in situ gel by storing it overnight at 4 degrees centigrade. Besides poloxamer 407, poloxamer 188 with higher polyethylene oxide to polypropylene oxide block ratio was introduced to achieve two objectives. Firstly, to aid in adjustment of the phase transition temperature of the formulation, and secondly, to improve the mechanical strength of the gel. A total of 8 formulations, F1 to F8, were initially prepared, in which different ratios of poloxamer 407 and 188 were used, and whereas the quantities of all the other ingredients were held constant. The prepared formulations were subjected to preliminary investigations for clarity, gelation temperature, and gelation time. Appearance and clarity was evaluated by visual examination of the formulations under the light, alternatively against the white or black backgrounds, and all the gel formulations were clear and transparent. They were free from visible foreign particles and undissolved particles when examined against the backgrounds. Gelation temperature. Here, a beaker with the formulation was allowed to stir with the help of a magnetic stirrer at 100 rpm, where the temperature was increased gradually, and the point at which the magnetic bar stopped moving due to the formation of the gel was noted. And the gelation time was noted by placing the solution containing tube in a water bath at a temperature 0.5 degrees centigrade above the gelation temperature and noting down the time taken for the solution to completely transform to a gel. The tube with the solution was tilted frequently to determine the time for complete gelation as indicated by the lack of movement of the meniscus on tilting. This is a table indicating the result of gelation temperature and gelation time. The sol-gel transition temperature is a parameter key to the success of thermosensitive formulation. For the present work, it was rationalized that gelling temperature slightly lower than the body temperature, that is about 33 to 34 degrees centigrade, would be an appropriate feature. Firstly, gelling in vivo at 37 degrees would be a rapid phenomena which may aid in bringing about rapid consolidation of the solution, minimizing the burst release of the active. Secondly, poloxamer gels are reported to exhibit an increase in the viscosity above the gelling temperature. Hence, the materials with gels at say 33 degrees centigrade would rest as a gel of greater viscosity at body temperature, thereby increasing the applicability as a sustained release depot. Finally, the injection would be a low viscous solution at a temperature of 20 to 25 degrees centigrade, which would make it amenable to easy injection. Based on this rationale, formulations F6 and F7 were selected for further studies. Syringeability plays a significant role in the clinical application while administering the gels into the body. Both the formulations showed good syringeability through the injection. Viscosity was measured using a Brookfield viscometer using spindle number 64 at 25 degrees centigrade. Both the formulations found to be low viscous and amenable to easy withdrawal and injection. Drug content was determined by analyzing the solution using UV visible spectrophotometer at 363 nanometers, and the drug content was comparable to the theoretical content. pH was measured using a pH meter, and it was found to be in the range of 6 to 7, which is close to physiological pH. In vitro release of felodipine was studied using a modified diffusion apparatus. A cellophane membrane, which was previously soaked overnight in the buffer, was securely tied to one end of the specially designed glass cylinder, which is open at both the ends, and 2 ml of the formulation was placed into the glass cylinder, which acts as a donor compartment, and the cylinder was suspended in a beaker, which acts as a receptor compartment containing 200 ml pH 7.4 phosphate buffer as the diffusion medium, and with its drug containing end slightly dipping into the medium. Temperature was maintained at 37 plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade with stirring rate of 50 rpm, which was achieved using a magnetic stirrer. 3 ml sample was withdrawn at pre-decided time points for a total duration of 120 hours and replaced with the fresh dissolution medium. The aliquots were diluted with the diffusion medium and analyzed at 363 nanometers using UV spectrophotometer. The drug release profiles for 120 hours is graphically represented. Under the present experimental conditions, poloxamer formulations could sustain the drug release up to 120 hours. A significant burst effect lasting for about 2 hours was seen. This can be attributed to the diffusion of the organic co-solvent out of the system with some of the entrapped drug. Formulation F6, which had a minimal total concentration of poloxamers and yet showed a more gradual release, was selected and subjected to kinetic studies. In vitro drug release data for beyond a 2-hour burst release was subjected to kinetic analysis and fitted to zero order, first order, Higuchi, and Pippa's models. As seen in the graphs, none of the mechanisms gave a perfect correlation, although the release pattern has a closest match with the Higuchi release model. The Higuchi model is applicable to the release from a planar heterogeneous porous matrix system. However, the present system does not conform to the geometric requirements, and the shape of the depot would be variable from time to time, leading to the deviation from the Higuchi profile, although the release would be governed by the diffusion through the porous poloxamer matrix. Ex vivo studies. The chick muzzle was procured fresh from a reputable hatchery, and the tissue weighing 4.5 grams was excised. The formulation was injected into the muzzle through a 20 gauge needle. The crystal violet dye was added previously to the formulation to increase the visibility. And the tissue was tied to a tissue holder and immersed in the vessel of an organ bath containing 25 ml of phosphate buffer maintained at 37 degrees centigrade. A semi-solid violet-colored depot was formed, which was observed in the muzzle, which confirmed the formation of the depot in the muzzle. Conclusion. The developed formulations are capable of sustaining release of felodipine for a duration of 5 days as concluded from the in vitro studies. The study established the potential of the thermoreversible polymer like poloxamer 188 and poloxamer 407 to provide sustained release drug delivery system. Rate control polymers can be incorporated into the system to reduce the burst effect and to further prolong the drug release. Thank you.